Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. I want to shoot this video. It's just several things that have taken place over the last week or so that God has really awakened me to. And I said I was going to do more videos. I promised you guys I would do that. I think I'm going to post this one in my ladies group. I may put it on my other page. But happy Monday, everybody. Listen, I've had a busy week, a busy weekend. Shout out to my friend Mary, who had her birthday brunch yesterday and all of that. But I've been noticing when I'm having conversations with people how I feel when I leave them. You know, Great Minds Think Alike is a mastermind group that I joined back in January. It's the best thing I could have ever done. And some other things that I connected myself to. I needed some tools to help me transition. And God is showing me how to use those tools. But I needed some transitioning tools because God was connecting me with new people. And I just needed the tools to be able to transition. And so I'm so grateful for that. Great Minds Think Alike. What I noticed when I would get off the phone with them is that I felt inspired to write, to create, to do different things. I mean, literally, I would not be able to go to sleep after I get off my mastermind sessions with them, you know. And then I just noticed these new business connections that I'm making, both mentors, mentees, you know, just up, down, all around type of relationships that how I feel when I leave them. If every time you're with someone and you leave feeling like, okay, what's going on? What this and that? And, you know, it pretty much leave you guessing all the time, or you leave drained, or you leave frustrated, you might want to evaluate that relationship. If not, God will do it for you. Trust me. I know this to be true. I posted something a couple of weeks ago called a relationship audit. And I noticed from season to season, transition to transition, God moves people in and out of these relationships. And that's all fine and well, because some of them don't really have the foundation that they need to be long-term relationships anyway. So that's cool. But what I really want to focus on is I'm a marketplace minister. So I get to communicate with people in settings outside of the church. And I see every day why the unchurched has a problem with the church, because we say and do one thing as a Christian, and then in certain situations, we act like them. And so I'm quite sure they're very confused. You know, we're preaching fire and brimstone and salvation, and you can have it and you can do this and da, 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 da. And then they see you under fire, or they see you come across a challenge and you act like they do. And so I'm quite sure they are very confused, because I communicate with a lot of people and they'll be asking me questions like, why does this happen? And a lot of it is because we just don't operate in the word, guys. God has a process for everything. He has a process for conflict. He has in marriage, in friends and all. He has a process for everything. And as Christians, if we're going to do the word, let's do all of it. Let's do all of it. I was working out this morning. I had strength training, and then I did a stretch and balance class. Everybody over 50, y'all need to be stretching. Stretch and balance class. And then I had a wonderful conversation with a member of the Luke, recognized me in my shirt, in the sauna. And so she and I talked, and it opened up a conversation with two other ladies in the sauna. And when I left out of there, I felt inspired, not only by the reciprocal conversation that we had, but I just felt I was in a good place. I was able to share some things this morning. They were sharing with me. And then we ran into another lady in the cafe. I love Lifetime. We ran into another lady in the cafe who I'd invited to our church, and she's coming, and she knows the other lady who I was talking to. So, you know, it just made for a good, peaceful, conversational type morning. Yesterday, the same thing happened. I'm out with a group of girl bosses. We celebrating, you know, and at a brunch, and I happen to sit next to somebody who we have so much in common. to the point where we actually could have had a brunch by ourselves. You know, professionally, we had so much in common. And what I thought was so divine is because I'm stepping into something very, not new, but redesigned, if you would. And she's somebody I needed to know. And God set me next to her. Never saw her before in my life. Set me right next to her. When I left from her, I felt inspired. I felt encouraged. And I have a couple of friends that, you know, one or two of them, we don't even have to talk all the time. But it's like when I get off the phone with them, I don't have to wonder about my relationship with them. I don't have to walk on eggshells with them. And not only that, if I'm going through something, there's a spiritual sensitivity to say, Jonah, you said such and such and such. Why do you feel that way? Or if I'm upset about something, pull me out of that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why you guys hear me talk about relationships being reciprocal, because if you're always giving, of course, that's just not a good relationship. It needs to be both ways, but you need to have those relationships that at your core know who you are and know who you are not. And then when you leave from them, you feel inspired, you feel educated, you feel empowered. And so I just wanted to say that because I've been noticing, just different relationships and how they start, how they transition, how they end. And then at the same time, when I'm talking with the unchurched and they're asking questions about how we handle things and deal with different things. And here's what I really wanted to get to. Grace. Grace. Grace is not important. We don't think it is. We don't talk about it until we need it. The best example of grace is what God did for us. But to continue that grace legacy is how we treat one another. And in marriages, in friendships, in, family relationships, the next time somebody does something that kind of catches you off a little bit or throws you off a little bit, don't be so quick to cut them off. Grace. Because in their process, there is you to help them walk through that process. And so in marriages, because here's the thing, everybody has a process. And if God is teaching us and growing us and maturing us in that process, he's going to use us on each other. So if we stay in a place of giving grace as much as we receive grace, there will be a lot less conflict, a lot less confusion. So I want to leave you with this question. Who needs you to extend grace to them today? Is it a husband, wife, children, friend, business partner? Who do you need to extend grace to today? Who needs you to extend grace to you today? Guys, have a blessed day. Just having a reflective moment after I'm sitting in the car getting ready to leave out this parking lot. I've been in the gym for a couple of hours. But I love that lesson and what God is telling me, because rather than get caught off board and say something or do something, I call it knee-jerk reactions that have no sense. And here's another thing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. When things like that happen to you in your relationships, ask God, what is at the core of it? Because usually in an argument or a disagreement or a conflict or somebody gets offended, what actually happens to start that is not at the core of it. What's usually at the core of it is other things like jealousy, envy, competition, etc., etc., and go on and on and on, right? Ask God. Say, God, show me, because I don't believe this is crazy. This makes no sense. And people will justify with whatever, but it doesn't. It makes no sense. Ask God what's at the core of it. I guarantee you he will answer your question. Guys, have a blessed day, and let's extend some grace to somebody today. Somebody needs grace from you. They got it from God, but they need it from you. Have a blessed day.